On the opening weekend of training camp, there were some busy deals that were made, some rather messy, but some rather rewarding. Some saw an increase in respect, and some were given their walking papers. Want to find out who those individuals are and how it may affect their respective teams? Stay tuned to find out on Gridiron Gab Pro Style.
The autumn winds move like the thunderous waves of Neptune's sacred palace. And here, amongst the blackened soil, lies the ragged hands, worn, torn, and callous. They await with cunning and vicious prowess, for the warriors have returned.
Come on, Dutch! Don't do it! Woo! No way! Woo! 85! Crying out loud! You're making me driving me nuts!
But behold,
Welcome back, Gabbers. Thank you guys so much for joining us on another edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. Of course, you gabbing with the one and only Mr. CeeLo. And I hope you guys are doing well, as it is scorching hot down here in the South. Cannot wait till the fall season because it's perfect football weather, but it's also not in the 90s and near three figures. But just want to take a few minutes and thank some of my wonderful fans, and you know who you are. I'm so grateful. I actually got to see one of you today, Big Brad. Appreciate you, my friend. Always am grateful be able to sit down and have a conversation with you, and that's what it's all about. I'm so thankful for all that you do, and got to definitely read the comments that you put out here because they're funny as well as very entertaining. It said, LMAO, you're funny. Stop. You're killing me. I'm ready for college football. What's up, buddy? They had the best running back, Nick Chubb. Cleveland is where good players go to die. I can't disagree with that. Honestly, I can't disagree with that either. There's been a lot of players that have been Cleveland bound and their careers have just faltered. But I'm going to be honest with you. Myles Garrett has been the exception. You know, he's been a guy that has been a trooper. He has done his thing. And, you know, he's been probably the best player in the franchise for the last 8-9 years. And he's gotten paid like such. And he's more than likely going to finish his career as a Cleveland Brown. And, you know, good for him. Great for the city of Cleveland. They've got great fans. The team is just not where it needs to be. But let us get started, as we had some busy things go on starting Friday. It's been a busy weekend for me as well. As you guys know, I run another channel. A Carolina Panther channel. But if you guys have some requests as far as what teams you'd like to hear content on, this is basically a rundown of what took place in the first weekend of the major storylines, such as ESPN sources say the Raiders are releasing defensive tackle Christian Wilkes with the designation of terminated vested veteran. Basically how Wilkins treated the rehab from his foot injury that he suffered last season. The Raiders avoided the remaining $35 million on Wilkins' contract last month, and today Wilkins filed a grievance with the NFL Players Association. Now, it seems like big-time players that get deals for defensive tackles, and I'm not trying to put a stigma on defensive tackles, but it just seems like it's become not a consistent staple, but they don't do a really good job of attempting to rehab. You remember Albert Haynesworth years ago, he didn't do a good job when he came over and signed that big deal. And it turned out to be one of those deals where he turned out to be one of the biggest busts in free agency history. And he lost a lot of guaranteed money. because of his effort, and I think it had something to do with his injury. Someone correct me if I'm incorrect on that. But Christian Wilkins has now hurt this Raiders defense led by Pete Carroll when it looked like this defense was on the verge of rebuilding from the inside out to go with Max Crosby. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, as he is now a free agent, and there are certain teams that are looking at him and looking at his situation. The Bengals and Shamar Stewart have finally reached a 4-year, fully guaranteed $18.97 million contract that includes a $10 million signing bonus. So that now completes all number one or first round draft picks being signed. And I think that was the big deal here with Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart wanted a fully guaranteed contract. And, of course, the Bengals organization was playing hardball, worrying about some of the things that Shamar Moore was possibly involved in. So, eventually, they buckled on under the gun, knowing that they don't have a deal with Trey Hendrickson. And they're playing hardball with him, which is another deal. That's just, it makes no sense. They're not on board with the number of years. They're not on board with the number of how much guaranteed money. And to me, whatever Trey Hendrickson asked for, the Bengals just need to go ahead. They don't have very many elite players on this defense, if they have one. This is a guy who has been nothing but the cream of the crop ever since he signed the deal from New Orleans. Go ahead and get that man his money. You gave Shamar Stewart, you got an opportunity to have this guy and Shamar Stewart on the other side. At least give your defense a shot. And then we find out the Falcons wide receiver Darnell Mooney injures his shoulder, and he's going to be down for a couple of weeks. That's a big injury for the Falcons, whom are really trying to find their offensive stride now, especially with Kyle Pitts back in the mix, who's been playing exceptionally well at camp as of late. Safety Josh Metellus and the Vikings reach an agreement today on a 3-year, $36 million contract extension with a max value of $42 million that includes $25 million guaranteed. That's a huge signing for Brian Flores and this wide open defense for the Vikings. Then we see this happen on Saturday. Treylon Burks is being evaluated right now for a shoulder injury, which later on we see that today he would have ended up being released, as he has not been what the Tennessee Titans had hoped for coming out of Arkansas. And a lot of that you could throw that onto the quarterbacks and the offensive coordinator, but I think it was just a simple case of new coach. I think they wanted to just be done with Treylon Burks, and I hate to see that. Another young wide receiver, just not, yeah.
You don't have to answer that question. You can't handle the truth.
Now, wide receiver Terry McLaurin was spotted at the team's training facility on Saturday. McLaurin arrived without a new deal, but with some sort of ankle injury. There was some talk that he showed up and he's being fined $50,000 a day. Look, Washington, go ahead and wipe that off, because here's the reality. This is on you right now. And from what I'm hearing, it's the number of years that you're not wanting to give this guy. Look, go ahead. The guy has been the best player on your franchise for 7-8 years now. The guy's turning 30. He spent his entire NFL career there. And you guys have been in purgatory majority of it. Pay this man. You're in a situation now, yes, you want to win, but the reality of it is this man has not really gotten paid, and now he wants to. Pay him. At least pay him till it's time for Jaden Daniels to get paid, because by that time he will be ready to retire. Don't be cheap now, because you've gotten away easy. Get him paid so he can get on the field. Probably one of the bigger stories of this weekend was Chargers left tackle Rashawn Slater, one of the most absolutely brute forces in all of the National Football League at left tackle, reached an agreement today on a 4-year, $114 million extension that includes a record $92 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. rightfully so. We've seen Penei Sewell hit that title, and this is a long time coming. I mean, and there was even talks on some radio stations about guys or franchises that overlooked this guy and didn't draft him. And me personally, yeah, there's a lot of guys that you overlook, but the reality of it is, yes, Rashawn Slater is in a class by himself. He's exceptionally rugged and just absolutely a bulldog. I absolutely love this guy, and I'm very glad the Chargers saw fit to enrich him. Probably a concerning note, not a big deal, because I think everybody understands that the Browns are going to need a lot of help in order for them to be able to even compete this season. You guys check out my show, how the Cleveland Browns can be playoff contenders. It's actually interesting. Go by and watch that. The Cleveland Browns' Kenny Pickett injured his hamstring near the end of Saturday's practice and is expected to be reevaluated later this week. Pickett was coming off a strong couple of practices, and at least for the short term, there will be more reps for Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to be honest, I'm not looking to think that the Browns are really serious about Kenny Pickett being the starter here. I mean, to me, this is just, well, we're going to see how far this can go, or how realistic this is, or how many people we can fool. I mean, I'm sorry, that's the way I look at it. There's no way I'm drafting two rookie quarterbacks and I'm not giving either one of them the nod. And I know what people are going to say. Well, you're starting the season 0-0. I mean, yeah, you got a chance, but how much of a chance is that really? I mean, you really have to ask yourself if you're a Cleveland Browns fan. You've got two rookies. You already know what you're getting out of Kenny Pickett. You know what you're getting out of Joe Flacco. Are you expecting Joe Flacco to come back and do what he did a couple years ago?
Bruh.
Don't think so. I wouldn't expect it. Truth is, why would I be expecting anything more? I get it. There are going to be a lot of people that say you need to play at least until you know you're done. So, I don't know. That's just me. I'm not sure about it. I wouldn't start Kenny Pickett. I would look along the lines of either Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel. That's just me. Then Adam Schefter reports that the Broncos and Courtland Sutton have reached an agreement on a 4-year, $92 million extension. We knew this was coming. The question was when. And the Broncos have got their guy locked up. Courtland Sutton's most certainly been one of the best deep threats in all of the National Football League. He reminds me so much of Ted McMillan of Carolina. Reminds me so much of him, what he can do, how he high points the ball, and how you look at how Bo Nix's season was really, how he really came into his own because of Courtland Sutton. But that's good for him that he's making his money. That came out earlier today. The Buccaneers have reworked Baker Mayfield's contract, giving him $30 million guaranteed in 2026, a year that previously had no guarantees. The length of the contract remains the same, but Mayfield now has financial security heading into the next season, which is the final year of his deal. As I said earlier, the Titans waived injured Treylon Burks after the fractured collarbone over the weekend. And that pretty much sets the trend on this busy weekend. Got to throw out there that Chad Johnson said something that to me was very telling, is that Joe Burrow belongs in the Madden 99 club conversation. I totally agree with that. Not that I want to mix a video game with real life, but a lot of people take these video games seriously. But yeah, Joe Burrow not being in the 99 club is a travesty, especially with him being one of the top dogs in the league, as good as he was last season. But I also got to throw in that he does have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Just saying. Do want to hear from my Ravens fans, as I'm going to do a show on you guys, letting you guys know what it is you guys have left. And what I mean by that is, what else do you need to get Lamar Jackson to win a ring? I'll let you know on the next edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. But that's going to do it for this edition. Make sure you go over to our Facebook and add yourself to the group, and as well as add yourself to the Facebook page. You know, if you got ideas, let me know. Put them down in the comments. Also, if you want to comment on this show, if you got objections, or you just want to comment on my dialogue, please do so. But remember, if you subscribe to the show, make sure you put your name down there, because I am working on some merch for this channel as well. Finally, make sure you go to my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo so you can catch up with me and stay up on all the shenanigans that I will be caught up in. But until the next time, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.
But behold, there is a warm breeze that comes from the west. The blazing sounds of victory fuel their everlasting quest. It is a call to arms, for they are here. An army that has the will to challenge and the will to dare.